My name is Paul Harrison and I'm a member of the Creative Writing Group. And this story is called The Workplace. Nathan had had a few temporary part-time jobs working behind the Student Union bar and in cafes near home during the summer holidays, and also a spell being a labourer on a building site. But now he had finished his degree and he was ready to set out into the big wild world of proper work. The problem was he had no idea what he wanted to do. His degree in history he equipped him for everything and nothing, and he had no great passion to follow any particular career. So every morning he scanned the online job pages looking for anything that took his fancy. He knew he didn't want anything too menial and had an idea of the sort of salary he'd want, but other than that his search was completely random and rather chaotic. So it was with some relief that he eventually found a job advert that took his fancy. He'd asked for someone with a logical brain who was well organised and worked well on their own or in teams. It said it was a rare opportunity for someone with the right skills to join an up-and-coming organisation doing projects in an exciting field. And that's all it said. Nathan found it hard to put together an application for a post with no job description, but he guessed he had nothing to lose, so he wrote down a few things about himself and why he was interested in the job, which was a bit difficult, and cobbled together a short CV detailing his education, interests and, albeit limited, previous work experience. He pressed the send button and so off it went via an email to the New Arch Group. It was with some considerable surprise and excitement that Nathan saw a reply to his email ping into his inbox the very next day. He opened it immediately and was amazed to see he'd been invited for interview, which was to take place the following week. He wasn't familiar with the address, but he saw from Google Maps that, although it seemed rather out in the sticks, it wasn't too far to travel, and he had a motor scooter, so it wouldn't be any trouble to get there, just about a 20-minute journey. The day of the interview arrived, and Nathan prepared himself as best he could. He thought he should dress smartly, but couldn't be too smart, as he had a scooter ride to make, and being late September, the weather was rather chilly. He also thought about the questions he might be asked, but even the obvious ones like, why have you applied for this job and what relevant skills do you have, were rather difficult to prepare for, as he had no idea what the job actually was. Nathan duly arrived at the prescribed destination, which was indeed in the middle of nowhere, and parked up his bike. It was, it seemed, a disused farmyard with a rather dilapidated barn in one corner. Next to the barn was a new-looking porter cabin, which he took to be the office. He walked over to the building, and sure enough, there was a plaque next to the door which read New Arch Group. He pressed the buzzer. After a short delay, a voice asked his name over the intercom and invited him in. He entered and was met by a guy of about 30, dressed in what you might call country-style clothes of green and brown. "Good morning, Nathan," he said, "follow me." He was led immediately into a room with a central table and chairs occupied by 3 other rather casually dressed people whom he took to be his interviewers. "Hi, Nathan," one of them said. "Thank you so much for coming. Now, I guess you're wondering what the job actually is." "Yes, indeed," said Nathan. "Well, unfortunately, we can't tell you unless you actually take the position." This seemed decidedly odd, and the brief interview that followed gave Nathan absolutely no clues about the position. At the end of the meeting, the 3 interviewers left the room. After about 10 minutes, they came back in, and one of them addressed Nathan directly. "Nathan, we'd like to offer you the job. It's for 12 months in the first instance. We're sure you'll be good at it, and you'll find it enjoyable and rewarding. But we need you to decide, here and now, whether you'll accept it. I should tell you, you are not the first person we've interviewed, nor the first person to be offered the position. But no one so far has been brave enough to accept a job they know nothing about. Will you?" What a strange situation to be in. Nathan wasn't really a risk taker, but he didn't mind taking a chance on things now and again, and he was, it has to be said, extremely inquisitive. He knew he couldn't turn down this opportunity. "Yes," he said, "I accept." Everyone seemed very pleased and came across and shook his hand. "Excellent, Nathan, excellent. Now, before we tell you what you'll be doing, would you like to see your workplace?" Nathan, of course, eagerly accepted the invitation, stood up, expecting to be led into another office in the Portakabin. But instead, they led him back out of the building, into the farmyard, and around the back of the old barn. From there, they took him to the side of an adjoining field. "So, I think the time has come for us to explain, Nathan, and to put you out of your misery, so to speak." Nathan couldn't help feeling a little apprehensive. This was all very strange and just a touch spooky. The man continued. "New Arch Group is really New Archaeology Group. There's been a very exciting initial find in this field, which implies both Roman and Anglo-Saxon occupation. There are signs of elaborate and extensive mosaics, and a number of coins have been found, suggesting this is the site of a potential major hoard. It's essential that the location of this site is kept secret, which is why we couldn't tell you any of this until we knew you would actually be working with us on it. So, Nathan, this is your workplace, this field."